the question has been, well, what should my paper be about? And the answer I have given you is anything you want, but I will help you out with that based on Dr. Vint's syllabus. So this is a printed out syllabus. It's online. Right here on the same page that it describes grades is a description of the final paper. It says essay prompts, but once you read it, you will be very clear that there are not expectations of what questions you have to answer or what things you can and can't do. It specifically says,
these essay prompts give you areas to think about, but the final paper should narrow from these prompt topics down to a specific argument that you make about your chosen text's meaning.
So, on that note, I'm going to read some of the key passages of this and explain what it's asking you to do. It says, very first sentence, your final paper assignment requires you to make an argument that interprets one of the texts we study. So that's step one. You are going to do an analysis of a text. So you're not writing a paper that's a research paper on, slavery, but you might write about the representation of slavery in a book or film or something that we work on in class. Now, the other key thing that Dr. Vint mentioned was that you're supposed to use the class material to create an argument, but you might find that the class topics inspire you to think about something you've read in another class or on your own time, something like that. And so, on that note, she says you can think about a research question that you want to explore. How do stories tell us something factual about our world or the world they respond to? So if you choose to write about another book, you can do that. You have to double check it with me, and you also have to make sure it's still related to the class topics in some way. So, make an argument that interprets one of the texts that we study. So, there is no formula or perfect way to do a thesis, but I can give you something to think about. So you will start with a textual claim. You will say, in the novel Underground Airlines, X happens, or the character Victor is this way, and you will make a claim about your reading of that text. So start with the actual text and what you see. Then make an argument about what it means, so which reveals such and such and such about the society in which, he lives. So Victor is unable to define himself or unwilling to define himself, which reveals that the institution of slavery continues to dehumanize his sense of identity, even though he's no longer a slave, right? That is an argument. I have made a textual claim and analyzed what it means about a larger cultural or social question, topic, or issue. This is critical because your paper in this class, the final paper, is only like 4 to 5 pages long. That's not very long. So if you're making an argument like, I want to talk about how both utopian texts and dystopian texts value the same fundamental human condition. These are all huge topics, right? Utopian texts is a genre of just thousands and thousands of books. Dystopian texts, another genre of thousands and thousands of books. What you can do to narrow is pick one specific text. So I want to talk about this utopian text or this dystopian text in order to show that a certain human value, a certain human something or other, say what the human something or other is. Look at your words, and if those words are vague, or if those words are whole genres or whole topics, if you're going to write about feminism in a text, okay, tell me what kind of feminism, for who, and then tell me again specifically what you're reading, what your textual reading is. Now, the last thing that Dr. Vint mentions here is that she is wanting you to consider what these stories tell us about the world. What the idea is, what the greater significance is. Now, that doesn't have to be in your thesis, but you'll want to consider in your last conclusion, zooming out and thinking about, okay, you've convinced me that this novel demonstrates this thing about society or culture, but why does that matter? What can we learn from it? What can, some people relate to with it? What can it show to people who might not understand it? You get what I'm saying. Papers that are truly successful will fulfill the requirements, but also just honestly be about something interesting, and that will be very apparent as I read them.